Hi, I'm Flamingo Kid, and now I'm going to be covering the musket section of the difference between a rifle and a musket. This is a Brown Bess second land model musket. Is that? Okay. The musket has the same three parts as a rifle. You've got the lock here, you've got the stock, which is the wooden part, and you've got the barrel. On the flintlock mechanism here, you can see that. You've got the flint, which are in the jaws right here. This is called the cock because it looks like a rooster. Here's the beak, the comb, it's the rest of the head, and here's the neck. You can see how that resembles that. Okay. You've got the frizzen, which is this right here, or the steel. Got your flint and steel, that's what makes the spark. You've got your pan, and then you've got your touch hole. You can see that little hole there. Okay, when you load this, I shoot cartridges, so I'll put a little powder in the pan, close the pan, pull the trigger from half cock to full cock, and then when I pull the trigger, the flint will hit the steel, swing that open, red hot pieces of steel will come off there. Those will land in the pan, hitting the powder. The powder will explode. That sends a flame through the touch hole. That flame then ignites the powder inside the barrel, which sends the ball out. Okay. This musket is a smooth bore, which means it does not have the rifling down the barrel, unlike a rifle does. Okay, so it's just as smooth on the inside as it is the outside. All right. The three reasons the military preferred the musket over the rifle: one, the muskets were cheap. They're easy to manufacture and get to the men, unlike the rifles, which are personally made for each of them, like Fiddler said. Two, it was easier to load. I could load this up to 3 to 4 times a minute. That's why they were preferred over a rifle. And lastly, I can attach a bayonet. Here's my bayonet. Alright, you see that? That makes up for the inaccuracy because it's a smooth bore. It sometimes misses. Okay? And if you'll notice the bayonet, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway. It has 3 sides from the base, and then it goes down to a point at the end. And if you stab this into someone and pulled it out, you have a triangular wound. But the soldiers were told to stab it in, twist it, and pull it out, so you then have a circular wound. That was easier to mend, especially back then. Okay? Also, to make up for the inaccuracy, you will notice it has a rather large butt plate, unlike a rifle. Okay? And this gun just so happens to be about 9.5 to 10 pounds, so it's got a good weight to it. So when that butt plate hits you, you know it's there, so it's got a good weight to it. Alright? That's that. Okay? A couple safety features. You can do this on a rifle and a musket. One is the little leather boot that I have here, which is just attached by a hemp cord. That covers the frizzen, so if you're out hunting or whatever and your cock goes off half-cocked, if you may have heard that, it won't strike and make a spark and set off your powder. It'll just hit the leather and stop. Okay? Another thing, since it's on the half-cocked position, the whole weight of the gun can be supported by the trigger and will not go off. That is, if your lock is working properly. Okay? Those are a couple safety features, which is nice about these. The rifles and the muskets had those. Alright? That's the musket there. Alright? Now, I'd like to cover a little bit of gear. Some of the gear that I have. Alright, get this over here. Is the cartridge box, as you can see, that holds my pre-made paper cartridges, or paper tubes, whichever you want to call those. In the bottom, they have the ball with a pre-measured amount of gunpowder. I shoot about 75 grains on a live round. And then your whole cartridge is the wadding. To be able to get to these, since you have your gun in one hand and your cartridge in the other, they would bite these. One of the requirements for the military was that you had to have 2 opposable teeth, and that was for biting the cartridge. Alright? That's those. Those all sitting here so I can get to them easily. I have my vent pick and pan brush. The muskets and rifles both use those because they both have the touch hole, as you can see here. And then the pan brush is the sweep out little pan here. That's where the powder goes. Here's the musket lock. And as you can see here, There's the rifle. There's its pan and touch hole. Okay. There's those. You can tell that the musket's quite a bit bigger, and that's because it needed to be more heavy duty for the men shooting so much a day and whatnot. It needs to be a little tougher and whatnot for them. Okay. Some cleaning tools I have here. It's my musket tool. Those are issued out to the men. They have the vent pick on them, like the other vent pick I showed you here. They've got 2 screwdrivers on them, one for the small screws, such as the screws on the lock, and then it's got one for the bigger screws, say like this on the butt plate, and some on the back of the lock is for those. Let that focus in. Okay. I've got my mainspring vise for tightening the mainspring, which is this spring right here, I believe. So you can put the flash guard on the pan. Reenactors nowadays are required to have those because you shoot side by side, and you don't exactly want the powder and flame going in the guy beside you's face. It's got the British Crown and GR on it, as you can see, to match the English brown vest that I have, which also has the Crown and GR symbol on there, right there. Okay. I've got a Allen wrench. I know it's not time period for the 18th century, but it helps tighten the jaw screw, which is this screw right here that helps hold these 2 jaws to keep the flint in there. Okay, it's got a little hole right here. You just stick that in there and twist it around and keep it tight. You got to keep your flint tight so it doesn't fly out. I've got my toe worm ball puller. If I get a ball stuck, hopefully I don't. I've got my barrel scraper for scraping the bottom of the barrel. Okay. And then I've got a little adapter so I can use those on my ramrod, because the threads on my ramrod are male, and these are the female threads on here, and they're a little small, so there's an adapter to be able to accommodate those needs. I carry extra gun flints. Mine are an 1 by 1 wide square flints because the musket locks are big. I'm not sure what the rifles are, but they're pretty small compared to the muskets. Here's my cartridge again. That's what I load and shoot. Here's the little leather that holds the flint in the jaws. As you can see, here's the leather on the rifle, and then here's the leather on the musket. That just keeps the flint in. When the jaws have the little grooves here you can see on them, just helps hold that in. Carry a few extra just in case. To make the balls, I make my own. It starts off with a little lead blob or fishing weights or lead block, whatever you have. Put it in the mold. It comes out with a little sprue on it. You have to cut the sprue off and file it down with the file, and you have a nice little round ball. Some of the soldiers were carving an X into them with their knife halfway into them, so when it hit the British, it would be like a dum-dum bullet. It would fragment. And I can tell you right now, I'm sure they weren't happy about that. Also, they could take a carpenter nail, which I have here, and pound it into them. Alright. If I didn't want to load my musket with the cartridges, which you saw with the ball on the bottom, I could load it like a rifle. Here's a little patch I could use, which fits around my 75 caliber ball, which is 3/4 of an inch, which is pretty big by today's modern standards. Here's some patch material that I have for cleaning or loading if I don't use cartridge. Here's some tow I can use for loading or cleaning as well. Here's my shot pouch, which I carry my bird shot or buckshot in. It's a nice soft leather pouch. It just comes out of the end here. I take the plug out and put it back in. I can just measure that in my hand. I don't need a measure for that. Here's my ball bag. Carry extra lead balls in for shooting. A little leather pouch to keep all my extra tools in. Extra nuts, bolts, and screws for the gun if one were to come missing. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, I have them. Some 3x3 nice shotgun cleaning patches for cleaning. Makes it a lot easier cleaning on the field instead of using a few other things. Here's my tow string. I've got my tow and hemp. One's for soapy water for cleaning, and the one's for putting oil on and drying the barrel. You need to oil it before you put it up. Sometimes we have special solutions that you can pour on the barrel to clean them, and we have some toothpicks to clog the touch hole so that the solution stays in the barrel and breaks up the powder. I have a cleaning patch, my oil bottle for oiling the gun. It's 100% virgin olive oil, oils the stock and the barrel. I have my lye soap for boiling water, soap the barrel, clean it. My powder measure, which is adjustable, I can put on whatever amount. My bone handle toothbrush for cleaning the lock, for cleaning the black powder off and oiling. Extra screwdriver and the short stop for loading if I needed it, but usually I just use the ramrod. Another thing, the balls for the rifles were fitted, so if you have a 50 caliber rifle, you might use a 50 caliber ball with a patch.